Where's your driver? Where's your driver? You at shopping?
So good. Oh. They do all these meetings and they can't pay you anymore. They give you like they give you bottles of wine or they use one. Actually, one of the guys, he owns this.
I don't know. Maybe so you asked how I am. I'm not even sure I am. My sister was asking. Oh, Mary. She's in that. I got that. Yeah. Back in the story.
Yeah, I'm in there.
Hi, Chris.
The second floor was.
How's it going?
So I was in I went in on a tape meet because I knew because I had people in there.
How's
So I got a tape meet with Harold. We did that, and then what was it? Docent. The docent she took us through the army. No, I don't know. Then he started.
Thank you. You're welcome.
I haven't missed the DC games as far as Hawaii or maybe.
Yeah, no, I'm happy with it. I always want to see the operation. I mean, it was a big, yeah, but it wasn't no big. And it has to make a difference. I had not too many in here.
How are you today? Great. Yeah.
Hey, how are you? Good. I can sit with it. I can raise it one side or the other. I can join in. It's not a thing, but it's a regular hearing. It's a regular But anyway. so full, but it's not but mostly it's on.
If we did. There's both. Let's make sure you get Meg. Have you got friends? Here.
Good.
Okay, I'll mark you here.
Sure thing.
So much better.
How are you guys doing? From the fifth down?
Yeah, she was. She
Fine.
Well, I know, but you still have to pay the bill. At least I Hey, Bob.
Tell us what it is.
Hello, gentlemen. How are you?
Gentlemen, how are you? Bill, what are you doing?
Yeah, where you been?
Jeff, I'm here every week now. I'm here all the time now. See everybody. That's the best word I know, Americans. Good to see you, Mike. Bill, not so much. You're a man, Mr. Dover. It's like see, it's like you gotta be smart. Yeah, you gotta be smart. Ha ha! Ha ha!
How's it going today?
Good, how are you?
Well, good to see you.
Yeah.
Ian.
Yeah.
Yeah, see you. Absolutely. You're good.
Am I doing all right? Well, I'm glad to know I'm not wrong.
There you go. You're not full up.
I told you, no. It is. Nothing, as long as the sun's out, I'm good.
My kid will wear shorts to school when it's 30 degrees out.
Oh yeah. That's what kids do, they wear shorts and a hoodie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Take one now if you don't mind.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
I'll do one from the back so I can pull them off. Got it?
That's a great, make sure that was a problem.
No, I won't go with the face.
And I get it, let me get this angle like this. Tell me when. Which picture?
Anything with this. Landscape. Not this one. That one.
Did you want a chair? No. Oh, I put a chair by their face. Yeah.
It's 20 minutes. Yeah, just okay. Can I sit here?
Yeah, and there's lunch too in the back.
Is that me a quick?
I'm
Do it.
starving.
Forget it. I'm going to do mine after. How's it going?
Very well.
Well, Ian Cummings. Good to see you.
And yourself?
Ian.
Nice to meet you, Ian.
Good to see you. I'm just reading a little bit here about what you do. Sounds very interesting.
I'm quite interested in finding out what I do myself.
Very cool. Well, that's a good problem to have.
Here, what you want? You
I'm sure you'll tell us all about it, but so you grew grapes for wine. Table grapes. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I'll explain in my talk.
smile, you see. If you want to just make it certainly just set up the
Hey, how's it going? Good. Good to see you.
I was texting with my wife last night, trying to convince her. She's out here.
Yeah.
Oh, I was trying to convince talked about going to like West Virginia. So I don't know. Yeah. Well, you'll hate it, but it's something. And so I just thought it'd be fun. I mean, we probably are going to go with the Smiths anyway, so I was like, we should invite Sarah Ian and their voice. So she said like that would be a fun trio. But then I sent her, oh my gosh, I was looking through VRBOs, and there was this VRBO that said adult X, and I was like, is this like an adult? Like they don't want kids to be there, that's weird. But anyway, I clicked on it. Oh my gosh. Yes! VRBO! Who's gonna use used equipment like that? I sent it to John and he was like, instead of the half goods rental house. Anyway, I was like, how is this a weird VO that anybody can just anyway, we had a fun conversation last night. Well, I just, it said adult X. Now I know what adult X rental means. It didn't click into me as I was like looking for the bunk beds that there was going to be a PDS difference.
There's going to be a test at the end of this. You need to score 85% or above to prove that you actually listened to me or you read the brief.
I love it. That sounds good.
And how long have you been with the Rotary Club?
On and off. I started originally 12 years ago. But then about 7 years ago, I had to take a break. And I just started 2 months ago. So on and off for 12 years with this club. So,
and you took a hiatus.
I did. I took a big hiatus, and
still staying in the area.
I do. Yeah, I live 5 minutes, just up the hill. And I just found out that I'm doing the Sergeant at Arms introducing today. And my wife is stranded with the dead. So it's still a big introduction. I have to leave to go get her. But anyway, I'll have to catch the clip.
I need water. Oh, you two have to.
Yeah, as soon as I talk, I've got it. I'll pass it off to you, and I have to pick up Sarah.
Okay.
Or
Well,
she's going to miss her 2 o'clock meeting.
We'll have it recorded.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Wow. Because I do want to see it.
Did anyone ask you
Yeah,
about
you will be?
Is that okay to be on Zoom? Okay.
Give me a stage or a chance to get on screen. I'm there.
I'm going to try to go my dear friends from
Thank you so much.
Yeah, hopefully that'll be better. I'll be free to move it wherever.
She's the one who's actually in charge.
You're the boss.
She's the one.
That's right.
She runs the program. He's president. She runs the program. And then I'm on the programming committee with the 5 guys. That's where I'm going. Do I know how to get to the video? Press play. It's up there.
How are you? All right.
Good. What a busy week. It's going to be Friday.
Is this get together monthly?
This is
practice every week.
Every Friday.
Holy hell, sir.
I like the monthly idea that I'd be able to get here way more frequently.
We have started to throw out a month. Before having 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah, 5 weeks.
Yeah. And then if
In England, we call it fortnight.
And then we want to get together on the other Fridays and go to bars.
Yeah.
But I mean, like Aaron and
I
Jennifer.
try to come, but it is, I like how the promise is so busy right now. It's like non-stop meetings on Fridays, and then inevitably they just come in,
No, no.
and I can't not.
Plus, I'm very expensive.
Travel.
You got a couple pecans there.
I'm doing another sandwich.
All right, you got this spike.
Well, that's what I do. That's my business.
Yeah, I felt it. But you get bit.
Well, that's what I'm
you get
saying.
bit all the time. So I felt an insect on my leg, batted it off, and then back. It's 24 hours before it started to.
Right.
And then by Sunday, I couldn't walk. I mean, I've never felt such pain in my life.
Yeah, there's a lot of, I talked to, I work with Dr.
Apparently, it gets into your system. The brown recluse, I've done a lot of research on it. The venom in the brown recluse is more toxic and poisonous than a rattlesnake. But obviously, a small dose. But it can turn necrotic. In fact, this is the bit that we're most concerned with. It can literally eat your flesh away.
So,
It's not a good
like
thing to be
how
doing.
long? No, how long would it have taken to get to this real serious pain? And you got there in
At the 4-day part. At the 4-day part. But I got antibiotics
Steve
day
sent me the
3.
email. I was going to tell Steve
Now,
that.
vitamin D.
And then really just antibiotics?
Should I get up and ding the bell now?
So 3 days ago, that was like
Yeah, I would start.
Start it? Just ding it and go? All right, you got it.
Give him as much time as possible.
This is very poorly rehearsed.
Good afternoon. Y'all look damn good today. I mean, sorry, y'all look really good today. Probably not supposed to say that.
Dang.
Welcome to East Chapel Hill Rotary. Before I start, are there any guests or visiting Rotarians? If so, please stand and introduce yourselves. Anybody? Not a single? Oh, there we go. All right.
Sorry, we're so busy talking.
I understand.
I'd like to say, everybody say hi to Frank. He's here today.
Hi, Frank.
He's been here for 2 already, so.
Excellent.
Anybody else? Okay. I'll jump into this. I do have a disclaimer. I've been in the club on and off for a long time, and I've never before been asked to do the Sergeant at Arms introduction. So this is a first for me. And the complete disclaimer is that this is very poorly rehearsed. I actually used ChatGPT to write the whole thing. And I'm not going to really present it. I'm going to read it so that it sounds as robotic as possible, just to kind of keep the spirit of the authenticity of AI. And then when it's done, I'll kind of let you guys give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And I'm kind of mixed on it. I'm probably thinking more thumbs down, but we'll see how it goes. So I used ChatGPT and Microsoft Copilot to write this, and it started with 2 jokes, and they're very, very questionable jokes, but here we go. What is an AI's favorite type of exercise? Any guesses? Nope. Running algorithms. Come on, that was terrible. That was terrible. All right, let's try this one. Why did the AI cross the road? to optimize the path for the chicken. Okay, that was a little better. All right, it's still not great. All right, so let's dive in. I don't know if I can extend this at all. All right. Well, anyway, ChatGPT wrote this part. I'm thrilled to welcome you to today's meeting. In my short intro, we'll be exploring the exciting and transformative world of artificial intelligence, or AI. Before we kick off our discussions, please take a moment to silence your phones. Thank you. Artificial intelligence, or AI, is no longer a distant concept. It's part of our daily lives, influencing everything from how we communicate to how we work. Tools like ChatGPT, which allow for natural language conversations and creative content generation, are revolutionizing the way we interact with technology. Imagine having a virtual assistant that can help email draft emails, brainstorm ideas, or even provide research assistance at the touch of a button. Another remarkable tool is Microsoft Copilot, which integrates seamlessly into our everyday software. It assists with tasks like applications in like Word and Excel, and it helps us to provide and write more efficient, analyze our data faster. These innovations are not just enhancing productivity, they're also freeing up our time to focus on more meaningful interactions, like attending Rotary meetings. As we delve into these advancements, let's think about how we can harness the power of AI to enhance our Rotary initiatives, how these tools can support our mission of service and community engagement. Well, thank you for being here today. Let's embrace the future and make the most of our time together. And with that, I'll turn the time over to fill in the blank. I'll turn the time over to Mr. President Tim Smith. So the AI intro, good. All right.
Top notch. Top notch.
It was fairly weak, but we'll try it again sometime and see if the algorithm's improving.
You got up there and you stood up and you did it, man. So that's right.
I was going to say to you, that was very good. I was just trying to imagine how different the AI output would be if you put Omar Zen and Rob Bateman's name in there too. So next time try that.
Hey, Tim.
Yes, sir. Oh, fine basket. Where is the fine basket?
I put it.
There they go.
Bill, a fool and his money is easily parted, right?
All right, welcome to Rotary. Got some a few announcements here. Happy Friday. In no particular order, Joe Jenkins reminds us that the CQ family dinner at the CQ house is next Thursday, the 21st. A little bit sparse on the sign up, so go in there, and if you haven't done it before, sign up. Right, Pat?
Right.
The holiday party. It is December 6th. That date has been in the scuttlebutt. I'm sorry if I haven't done a good enough job of advertising that, but a link is going out this afternoon to sign up for that. December 6th at the Carolina Inn this year. A link to volunteer for the Christmas house, the bike night, has gone out, and several of y'all have already signed up for that, so thank you very much. That's always a good time. That is, opportunities there are December 6th and the 7th. So take a look at that. I'll get that out a few times. Next week, early next week, I'll be sending out a project interest survey link just to get your feedback on the projects that we're currently doing, what you would like to see us get involved with, and what regularity. Tailgate is tomorrow. Remember, tent 24. I mean, you can literally touch the bell tower. So, if you are coming from your own tailgate, stop by for a minute on the way into the game. I'll get you up here. Mike Clayton is supplying. Mike, what are you cooking up for us?
We're going to have ham sliders, turkey sliders, that type of thing.
Excellent.
That's easy, but it's going to be cold.
It'll be cold. Yeah, exactly. That's perfect. That's perfect tailgate fare. And I'll be bringing some cheese and chips and dips, things of that nature. Tent 24. Remember that. And I don't know if Larry McCants brought me a huge cooler full of beer and wine, so someone has to help me drink that. Speaking of Larry, we are going to have a pop-up at his new restaurant, Hoops. It's in Pittsburgh. We're going to do that on December 4th. It's a pizzeria kind of establishment, so consider coming out to that. I'll be putting that in the scuttlebutt and reminding you all of that. And then finally on my list is the big Rotary Club in Durham is teaming up with ABC and I think the Marines in some capacity for Toys for Tots. So if you are so inclined, please bring an unwrapped gift worth at least $10 or more, and I will be collecting those and running those over to their meeting on December 2nd, I believe. So in the next couple meetings, if you feel like you'd like to contribute to that, please do. Karen Levine asked me to recognize her for a moment.
This club has been so incredibly supportive of this year's Peace Fellows, from helping them furnish their house and giving them clothing and even giving them money and helping at least 2 of them move in. Would everybody who has contributed in some way please stand?
Indeed, thank y'all. I mean, I think those folks have felt very welcomed, and thank you so much, Pam, for leading the initiative on that. I'll go back to the tailgate only because if you missed it and you are going to the game, it is called a blue out. So don't commit the faux pas of wearing any other color besides light blue. Not like you would, but you'll be in good company if you wear light blue to that game. Does anyone have any announcement? Yes, sir. Sorry.
I'm going to do my model train thing again this year, December 14th. Can't hear you.
Model train.
I'm going to do my model train open house December 14, 1 to 4, December 23rd, hopefully when your grandkids are here, 1 to 4. We'll put it in the scuttlebutt. And I had a videographer do videos of it. I'm going to put one in the link. So if you have no idea what this is about, check the link out. Thank you.
God see you.
Bob, what are the dates?
We'll put them in the scuttlebutt.
You'll put them in, okay.
It's a Saturday, December 14th, and then Christmas, the day of Christmas Eve, 23rd.
Y'all, I would say if you have not been to Bob's train setup, do yourself a favor and go. It is remarkable. It is really good. David, you had
very, very quickly.
it is, I think.
Can you hear me? You all might have noticed some of our badges are, you could call it stylish, you could call it rustic, whatever you want. But if it's bothering you and you would like a new badge, they're a little bit expensive. They're $10, so the club is not going to shell out for 50 new badges. But if you would like a new badge, there's a sign-up sheet, and it'll be there for the next several meetings. Out by the badge box, just write your name down. You'll get, Christy will charge you at the next quarterly invoice.
What's the warranty on the new badge?
New warranty. The warranty is going to be 7 days. Thank you.
But we will hold on to your old one and get
That's
right. Anyone else? Man, great crowd. Good to see everybody. In that case, Aaron, are you doing this? Courtesy of introducing us to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Hello.
Hello.
So I would like to welcome Martin Crompton to our Rotary Club. Martin has over 25 years of experience as a business development leader, and he spent the past 2 decades focusing on sustainability and energy efficiency. He's currently the Vineyard and Project Director at Union Grove Farm, which, as many of you may know, is the Muscadine Grape Vineyard across from Mapleview Ice Cream here in Chapel Hill, out Dairyland. It's not just any muscadine grape, it's a thin-skinned, seedless muscadine bred by NC State's Jeff Bloodworth, who has been breeding muscadines for over 30 years. And if you ever try them, they are the most delicious muscadine you will ever eat. Delicious table grape you will ever eat. All of it. We'll hear from Martin today about why regenerative farming is so important for the future of agriculture. We'll hear about everything they have going on at the farm. And by way of introduction, I'm going to stop there because we'd like to share a short 4-minute video that my company actually produced about Martin for our OccuDoc series. OccuDocs is short for occupational documentaries, and it tells what people do for their jobs. It talks about the paths that they take to get there, helpful to young people trying to figure out what they want to be when they grow up. Martin's self-described title is Director of Creative Solutions. So I'll let you take it from here. Martin, we're very thankful to have you here today because earlier this week he got bitten by a brown recluse spider. So
I came off second best.
He's actually one of the most energetic people you will ever meet in your life, but he may have to occasionally sit today because you don't want to see the graphic photos of the spider bite and what's been going on all week. So we're very grateful to have him here today.
Thanks, Andrew.
I am Marty Crompton. I'm the Director of Creative Solutions at Union Grove Farm. What do I do? That's probably a question that everybody on the farm wants to ask. I could be speaking to anybody on the planet who's got an opportunity to drive some benefit into the farm and into the regenerative movement. It could be digging ditches and painting fences, or it could be actually sitting down and formulating a strategic plan to work out what is it we're seeking to achieve and how we're going to get there. This, all this, with all these people need to be juggled. It's complex, all business is complex. The creativity is not the title that you're given, it's how you perform within that role. So my day is multifunctional and multifaceted. And that's what I love about it. I was in corporate life in England. I got drawn into sales and marketing strategy. These areas that I put myself into, I created relative success, but it wasn't feeding me inside. So I spent 9 months in India, 6 months of it doing meditations and getting to know the only person in my life that I knew nothing about, me. And when I came back, I thought, corporate life isn't for me anymore. I need to be doing something else. So I ended up pointing my arrow in this direction.
1 year off, when focused on 70 acres, we've got a 70-acre vineyard, so the focus needs to be on the vines and the fruit. And then the following year, this was going to produce 800,000. So that's 800,000, which is $3.2 million worth of revenue that we need to shift. This is why I need your eyes over here to look at this. This is where you would put the vineyard into that.
Yeah,
so that's got 20 barns.
Yeah, it'd be pretty damn close.
The ambition behind this project is to be the best vineyard in the United States of America. We're cutting edge, we're very innovative, we're very experimental. So the things that we're trialing on this farm have never been done before.
We've got heavy clay to deal with. What we're putting on top here. And he's putting this beautiful compost on. Eventually, over time, the microbes in this will turn that into that.
Like we're transitioning the land from conventional farming to regenerative farming, my role has transitioned and morphed and grown and changed throughout the time that I've been here, which is 4 years now. Every single day that is planned out can fly out the window within half an hour of actually going onto the farm. One of my key strengths is to go out there and find solutions to what people call problems and issues. I like to call challenges.
If you could just
do whatever you need to on that sketch, and then I'll use that as a prompt, a second prompt. So I'm going to send this one today, which will be prompt number 1. Oftentimes it's not the challenges that take us by surprise. That could be the weather, it could be a pest, it could be the spray equipment isn't working. If you can come up with a solution to that challenge, you suddenly turn what someone might regard as an issue or a problem into an opportunity. People often ask me, what advice would you give to young people? What has driven me to move forward in my life, it's not based on money or power or prestige or fame. It's based on what brings joy into my life, brings benefit to me, is what helps me to grow as a person. And the reason why I bang the drum on creativity all the time is I really think that's probably one of the main reasons we're here. You can bring that creative energy and flow into whatever you're doing in your life. So the advice that you need comes from within you. Find your passion, find what floats your boat, and then go out there and do the best that you can do. The world's waiting for you.
Okay, thank you very much indeed for inviting me today. It's a great privilege to be representing Union Grove Farm as an operation, Union Grove Farm, specifically the Vineyard operation I oversee. From the planning, can you hear me? Is this coming through okay? Where's my technical assistant?
I'm holding one.
This? Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
It's very rare that people can't hear me. I've got a very loud voice. Okay. All right. So, yeah, I appreciate being invited down, as I said, to this wonderful Rotary Club gathering. I'm very impressed with the numbers coming out in the afternoon. And I said earlier, is this the annual conference or is it quarterly? I said, no, this happens every week. So I'm very impressed already. So, as far as Union Grove Farm Vineyard, well, for a kick-off, we are to our...
That one works. Turn that one off.
I hope it's positive feedback. Yeah, to our knowledge, we obviously, as Aaron said at the start, we're a muscadine. Who's had a muscadine grape in their life? Muscadine wine or a muscadine table? Well, specifically a muscadine table grape. What most people say when they've never tried a muscadine table grape before is it's got thick skins and a lot of seeds in it. What people don't fully understand is that muscadine grape is one of the great superfoods on the planet. There's very few other fruits, let alone grapes, that have what's called polyphenolics or phytonutrient content on the level of that grape. We've got something very, very special. It only grows in the climate and the environment of the southeast. It is the state fruit of North Carolina, and the oldest muscadine vine is in North Carolina, out on Roanoke Island, and it's about 400 years old. The term scuppernong, which predated that, dates back to the Native Indians who were here. So this has got a lineage that goes back thousands and thousands of years, long before any of the founding fathers came here, some of which came from my country. I think it was already announced. Don't be fooled by that. I'll explain this as we go through. I landed here in 2002. I got my green card in 2008. As much as my country of birth is the British Isles, or England specifically, I regard this as home now. And for all the ooch-harp we've had to go through the last few weeks with the political shenanigans, and I'm not getting into politics today, this is still the finest country on the planet. Without shadow of a doubt. And people will still always be wanting to come here because this is where you can make yourself. This is where you can optimize the opportunity that's within you, as I mentioned in the video, of that creative urge that is inside all of us. I've searched the planet for the last 25 years looking for my fertile ground to plant my seed into it. And it's amazed me that I've gone through probably 7 or 8 different industries and markets across the planet. I found it here in North Carolina, and I found it at this incredible opportunity of a vineyard operation up in Chapel Hill. It's less than 15 minutes from here. And I encourage you all at some time, go on our website, there's an opportunity to visit if you want to plug on. All right, enough for tonight. I am world renowned, by the way, for making a 20-minute video, a 20-minute presentation last 2.5 hours. But I've got my good friend Erin at the front who's going to count me down on 5, so I might have to speak through as we go. So who are we, what do we do? Has anyone heard the term regenerative? Okay, it's basically we've got conventional farming, we've got organic farming, and then in the last 10 years, specifically the last 5, we start to accelerate regenerative agriculture, regenerative foods have started to come to the fore. Erin touched on it at the start that my background has always been in, for the last 15 years, in sustainability, energy efficiency and waste reduction. Worked in manufacturing plants for a long time, and actually had my company that I set up was optimization of plants. Now I'm optimizing not manufacturing plants, but vine plants. So it's all about the same thing. With regenerative agriculture, it's not just about tree hugging, although I've hugged a few trees in my time. It is about the environment. It is about pulling carbon out of the atmosphere, not putting it back up there and building it into the soil, which I'll cover. But it's also about healthy food. What we've got in the world at the moment are 2 really broken systems that are co-linked and synergized. One is the agriculture system that grows our food, and the other one is the healthcare system. Although I call that the eponymously named healthcare system, it's more about health maintenance these days. And again, don't get me wrong on this, I have got the highest of regard for anybody involved in farming and agriculture. They've been the people who farm the land to put food on our tables and our families' tables throughout our entire life and generations before us. And it's the same with the healthcare. I wouldn't be able to operate right now if I hadn't got some antibiotics in my legs. So I'm very conscious of the fact of never throwing the baby out of the bathwater, but there's an opportunity now for a new paradigm shift. We're looking at all different aspects of that around the world in different areas. We're focusing on regenerative agriculture. I want to explain why and what it's about today. Let's switch this. So who am I, what do I do? Again, you heard in the video, I wear many hats, literally and figuratively. I'm the Vineyard Operations Director. I oversee, or have overseen over the last 6 years, the planning, the design, the strategic vision, and then the operational rollout of a vineyard that when I met with the guy who's the owner of this operation, the true visionary behind it, a gentleman called Greg Boland. So he's a native of Illinois. He was a farmer going back multi-generations. He went into the farm, he was passionate about farming, but then he found, like a lot of small and medium-sized family farms, that there's not an awful lot of money to be made in farms these days. In fact, over 50% of the farms, so there's still 2 million farmers in this country, over 50% have been in debt for over 10 years. And that's a rolling situation. It's calamitous out there in farming at the moment, and most people are completely ignorant to it because it never gets any press. Highest divorce rate, suicide rate, alcoholism rate, because of the pressures of the financial situation. They're very asset rich because they're sat on land. But the alternate, and what we're going to see in North Carolina over the next 10 years, and I spoke with Steve, the NCAG Commissioner, Steve Troxler, a few months back about this, and he presented and said over the next 10 years, NC Agriculture will lose 1 out of the 8 million acres that we farm, and it's all going to be going to development. Because this is a fabulous, I mentioned about USA being the place to be. North Carolina is the state in the union, let's face it. Everybody wants to move here now. So there's a downside to that in that we're going to lose agricultural land. We can hold on to that if we give farmers an opportunity to make a profit and show them that we can do it in an environmentally conscious way and create foods that will be highly nutritious, less toxic, and feed people to address all these chronic illnesses that we've got. So, unconventional farmer for an unconventional farm. I am, to my knowledge, the only English cowboy farm vineyard operator, certainly in North Carolina, probably definitely in Orange County, but maybe across the USA. I wear this because I've tried out about 20 different hats over the last 6 years that I've been involved in the project. It gets very warm here. I don't know whether you've noticed during the summer months. My English blood boils at around about 82, so when we get into the high 90s, I suffer a little bit. So I've gone through different hat trials, and this is the best one for giving me the sunshade. And I've done a little bit of a peg leg there. You might ask, what's with the sheep?
What have sheep got to do with the vineyard? All will be revealed. So, Union Grove Farm as an operation involves the vineyard operation, we've got agritourism, and we've got a regenerative distillery that we're in the process of building that will have a bar, which will have the best views anywhere in Orange County. It's phenomenal, probably this side of the state as well. Beautiful, beautiful venue that we're building there. And then we've also building something called the Centre for Regenerative Agriculture. So obviously, as a business, and I said this when I'm presenting to farmers, when we're looking to evangelise regenerative farming, I ask the question, what are you in business to achieve? And I will ask that of the members of the Rotary Club today. What are you, if you're a business owner, what's your prime aim to achieve within business? Right, so the lady at the front, profit. If you're not making a profit, you're either struggling, which a lot of farmers are, or you're going out of business, like a lot of farmers are. So you have to have that front of mind, but not profit at any cost. There's a way to do it that combines the two. Regenerative farming is built off 6 principles, and I don't want to be going through the ins and outs. If you've got an interest in what I'm presenting today, it's very easy to go on sites and look this up, or go onto our site, uniongrovefarm.com, and we'll give you a much more detailed background to it. If you want to go out and find out more live, boots on the ground, then please come up and see us sometime, and we can give you a tour. But it's basically what it's about. It's key principles that are being adhered to now across. We've got approximately 920 million arable farming acres in the USA, which is a phenomenal amount of acreage. Does anybody know what percentage of those are organic farms? Hazard a guess. Throw a number at me.
2%.
10%?
2.
5%? 1? 0.5%. So the organic market, so you went to Whole Foods just across the road here, which is renowned for its organic food. It's also renowned for being old paycheck, I think they call it as well, because of the expense of organic food. What you'll find is, when you look at the food market, it's about 6%. And it's steadily growing. There's a greater interest in organic food because there's less toxicity, so it's regarded as healthier, and people want to be healthier. There's more money spent on alternate medicine these days than there is on conventional medicine. We still need them both, but there's a greater interest. So there's a growing interest in there's been a growing interest in investment in organic, but now there's an even greater latent interest in regenerative agriculture, both at farm level and amongst the consumer, that we're looking to tap into. And I'll go through the principles. And again, this is not knocking conventional farming. This is what I look like. I can show you. I was looking to dig it out today and put it in myself. When I first started farming at the farm, we were conventional. So I've been an organic consumer all my life. I like to reduce down and limit the number of toxins I have. That's what you have. I used to have to spray in a bunny suit like that. This is how we spray our regenerative crops now. The bees are very happy as well, and this is a big thing about regenerative farming. It absolutely blows the biodiversity up. As we plant the way that we plant with cover crops, and we pull that nature back into the farm, what you're going to get is a return of insects, and then pollinators, bumblebees and honeybees, and butterflies of all descriptions, birds come in behind that, and then the raptors come in behind that. So you build up the ecosystem as you're building up the quality of the farm itself and the soil. We, right from the get-go, realised that we wanted to be seen not as a whitewasher, because there's always going to be whitewashing in new movements. So we got behind an organisation called Regenified. They're one of 3 main verifiers and certifiers in the regenerative movement. We've got the Rodell Movements ROC, Land to Market, which is mainly for livestock, and Regenified that we've got behind. And those are one of the 3 that you have to get into a place like Whole Foods. And we're standing on the shoulders of giants. This guy that I'm quoting here, Gabe Brown, I'll read this out. Regenified is pathway forward, a promise to our children and their children and all people. We founded Regenified to protect the narrative around regenerative agriculture and recognise those who have made a commitment to tangible progress. We feel, again, honoured to have been put onto their website and the About page, and they quoted me as saying it's important that we were able to verify the work and investment that we dedicate to becoming a regenerative farm. The regenerative path is no longer just a righteous one, it's a realistic one, and it's also a profitable one. Our Regenified mark is our commitment to seeing that through. And this guy, Gabe Brown, has anybody heard the name Gabe Brown? You will get to know this guy. He's what I call the godfather of regenerative agriculture. He's got a huge farming operation up in North Dakota. He transitioned to regenerative farming about 15 years ago because his farm was about to go out of business, and he's transformed that, he's transformed the land, and in the last 10 years he's become the leader of the movement, and this is from a documentary that's going to be released at some point before the end of the year on Netflix, I think, called Common Ground, that explains all that. I was very fortunate to meet him at an event last year. So, nothing is more powerful than an idea whose time has come. You're a very educated audience. Who said that? Victor Hugo, right? Many, many years ago. And this is the time for a new paradigm shift to come in on many levels. I'm so delighted at the start. Ian? Yeah. Ian was talking about AI. The way we regard AI, it's like an asteroid the size of the one that hit the planet around the dinosaurs, when there were dinosaurs walking around. It hit us about it's been coming for a while, but it hit about 3 years ago, and most of us didn't even know. And the reverberations of that, which will be coming around the planet over the next 1 to 3 to 5 years, will make the Industrial Revolution look like a chimp's tea party. This is on a revolutionary scale, the likes of which humankind has never seen before. And if you were to put it on a curve of how we've evolved over time, it's about to go up like a Saturn V rocket. It will affect us in every part of our lives, and we're not going to be averse to having a connection to it on the farm. So as much as regenerative agriculture is the foundation of everything we do, AI, it's called AgTech, precision agriculture, sorry. So we're looking at autonomous vehicles, autonomous robots, autonomous AI harvesters and pruners. We'll have carts that will put the grapes onto that take us back. Everything within our operational processing area will be AI and robotic driven. Eventually, we don't do it overnight, it's quite expensive, but there's a movement towards that. And that's before Elon and the Chinese bring out these humanoid robots, which he's saying, again, Elon has a tendency to say next year, it will be here next year, and we're 10 years on, it's still waiting. But the prediction is probably by 2029 to 2032, we'll see those hit the market. They will dwarf what he makes on all these other projects put together. They're talking about having more humanoid robots on the planet, and this will come to pass, very probably, than people. It's on that scale. It'll go into manufacturing first, but it's also pouring into the agricultural sector. In addition to that, and this is how I convinced my very astute owner, Greg Bollman, as I say, he was in farming originally, wasn't making any money, so he went out into the world, went into banking, and then he went into investment banking, and then he went into VC. He made his niche in VCs. He's one of the most successful in his class VCs in the whole of the country. His firm has won that accolade 2 years on the run. So he knows what success looks like, and he knows how to make money, but he's been bitten by the regenerative bug. He and I didn't know regenerative existed 6 years ago. Greg saw a movie on the back of on the plane coming back from San Fran 5.5 years ago called The Little Big Farm, that he said to me when he landed. That was interesting that I just saw. I watched it that night. That inspired me. It was like there's something in this. That was about biodynamics. So I started doing my deep dive research, and I found a lady called Dr. Elaine Ingham, who's the #1 soil biologist on the planet. And she was speaking, funnily enough, to a bunch of English farmers over in England about regenerative agriculture. And what I call my spider senses kicked in. And I thought, whatever she's selling, we're buying. And within 6 months of that, Greg and I had come together, saw it as the opportunity it is. And instead of building what was going to be a 60-acre vineyard at the time, we then decided to go big on it. And our commitment now is over the next 8 to 10 years to build a 1,000-acre vineyard. This will be the biggest vineyard on the East Coast. We are only, to our knowledge, the only regenerative vineyard currently. There's a lot of organic vineyards, but we're the only regenerative table grape vineyard on the planet. So we've taken a bit of a risk. Not only are the big companies like, I just mentioned, so I just showed you General Mills and Nestle. Nestle are putting $2.5 billion behind regenerative agriculture. They have woken up to the fact that the Gen Zs, if you've got hair my colour, then we're part of the older generation that's being moved on now by the Gen Zs and the millennials, the consumers of the future. They are asking questions that we never did. Of the food companies, where did you grow this? How did you grow it? What did you spray on it? Have you got animals? How do you treat your animals? Have you got staff? How do you treat your staff? What are you doing that's affecting the environment, the rivers? Is it affecting climate change? So these guys are all about two things. I worked in corporate for a long time at C-suite level. Profit, risk mitigation. This is a conjoint of that. And when you see people like Bayer, and I don't know whether anyone saw the results that they posted this week, they weren't very encouraging. This business is tanking for two reasons. People are moving away from toxic chemicals as they're perceived by the millennials and the Gen Zs. But the other big switch amongst conventional farmers, because they're not making any money, is into generics. People can't afford the brands anymore. So Bayer have woken up to that, and if you go on their website, you will be blown away that a synthetic chemical company, the biggest on the planet, is now saying regenerative agriculture is all about the future of farming. Now, obviously, they're going to tie biologicals into that, not what we're doing, but it's a very good sign. And they're not the only agribusiness to do that. Okay, so we're 900 acres, we'll have about 250,000 vines. When we get up to that level, it'll be about 10 million pounds of fruit. I would like to put it in fruit terms. That's a lot of fruit in a lot of bags that are going to be appearing on store shelves, like Whole Foods and Fresh Market and all the other retailers that you see. We've never had a footprint for muscadine grapes, table grapes, outside the southeast. It's limited, it's very niche for the table grapes that they're selling that you will find on the shelves in this season. This is an opportunity finally to crack it out. And one of the things that I convinced Greg to open him up to this opportunity, who do you think grows the most table grapes in this country? Domestically grown, not overseas. Which state? California. Do you know what percentage of table grape they grow? 99%. I'm very impressed. Have you been genning up for that? 99%. I've worked in a lot of David and Goliath markets in my time. I like David and Goliath. I like being David in the Goliath market because the opportunity to pinch share and grow your business quickly is very, very attractive. Never seen anything like this. So we're living in an age of sustainability. We've been in the sustainability age for nearly 2 decades now, and it's ramping up. You look at any of the, not just the food companies, any company on the planet, and it will have it bold as brass within their company reports, all the commitments that they're making to sustainability. It's no longer sustainable, therefore, ladies and gentlemen, to be shipping a fresh produce product 4,000 miles, 3 days, with all the diesel and all the traffic on the roads from California to the East Coast. If you go out anywhere up and down the East Coast to buy a table grape, it's either being flown in from Mexico or Peru or Chile or South Africa, but most of it's going to be travel for 4,000 miles. We will be a local grape provider. Local is normally 200 to 400 miles within the bounds of the store. We'll be local for upstate New York, Florida Keys and the Midwest. So there's a big opportunity for us to grow this market. This is Mapleview. Erin mentioned it, and I'm going to whiz through the end, so I just want to show some photographs rather than lots of print. Mapleview Ice Cream Store. I can't see it on there, it's on to the right. Has anyone been up to Mapleview Ice Cream Store? It's a very popular destination. When you go up there now and you wonder what's happening out there, that's us. Over the last 3 years, we've turned it from what was a dairy and corn farming conventionally, a lot of chemical spraying, a lot of overgrazing, into what now looks like a biodiversity garden of Eden. What you'll also see, oops, get this right, is this, what I mentioned. This is, and Roger Nutter, who's one of the most incredible people I've ever met. He's the son of the father who actually started that farm in 1962. He ran it for the last 2 decades. He sold it to us, but he's on our team now, he's stayed on board. And he's been amazed what we've done with his land just in 3 years. They farmed it for 60 years and we've had it for 3. And so has the people in the community and the surrounding neighbourhoods. Because what we're seeing now is green, verdant grass. We plant cocktail cover crops, they're called, which are basically anything between 14 and 16 seed, different mixes, brassicas, legumes, oats, barley, flowered plants on as well. And behind that, as they all flower, you're getting all these different pollinators coming in. That's cover crop when it's at zenith. That's upwards of 6 to 8 foot tall. I want to show you what Californians look like in a minute. We've got sheep. Why have we got sheep out there? Because these are Mother Nature's phenomenal regenerators of land. They are our bio mowers, they are our bio weeders, they are our bio fertilizers. Everything that comes out of these sheep, food, heat, and saliva, is generating the biology that we need in the ground to turn the dirt that we had into regenerative bioactive soil. And I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. Again, field on the left that we just grazed with the sheep, and that's how it looks on the right there. This is a field that I set up so that we could have a compare and contrast. That's what the land was like on one of our other fields away from Maplefield. We've got 4 pieces of land at the moment. This is like rock. It's as hard, it would be like trying to plant on the floor out here as it was with that. Heavy, heavy rock, heavy, heavy clay. Hardly anything was growing on it. This is what we did as a test in the early stages, to put cover crops in, put the sheep in, and then put compost teas on. Incredibly transformative. That's what the soil looked like at Mapleview when we took over. That's from 2 years ago. This is what it looks like now. Does anyone have any idea why we managed to turn the red clay of North Carolina dirt into this black cottage cheese? Why is it black? Carbon. Carbon. This does 2 things. Rain falls on it, it hits it, runs straight off. Goes straight in the streams. I don't know whether you know this either. 70% of any chemical that's sprayed, a pesticide, a herbicide, an insecticide, a fungicide, it doesn't go on the plants. It sprays into the environment, it sprays into the earth, it sprays on the ground below, and when it rains, it gets swept off into the rivers and out into the oceans. So that's all building up. The other thing it does, it doesn't capture carbon, because there's no life force, there's no life energy, there's no microbes in that dirt. So what happens is, it's pushing carbon out, it's not pulling carbon down. If 20% of the agricultural land on the planet was to convert into regenerative agriculture, climate change will be over. Whether you believe it's man-made or not, I'm not getting into the politics of that. 98% of scientists said that we've got it and we need something to deal with, and we're talking about spending billions, if not trillions, on all the tech in order to pull this out of the atmosphere. When all we need to do is this. And that's another, that's another field. Now this is what, this is literally a photograph I took from the central, has anyone been out to the Central Valley in California? Blew me away. I went out there 8 weeks ago. My head is still spinning from the size and the scale of farming out there. The professionalism. I probably met the best, the most profitable and most professional and best run farms I've ever seen. These are on a scale that I can only dream of at the moment as far as we're concerned. I visited 2 vineyards. One was 25,000 acres in America and Portugal. The other one was 15,000 acres. They had 5,000 field workers out in the field that day in 137 teams picking grapes. It blew my mind. Well, this is what it looks like. The Central Valley, the reason why the Central Valley's got 2 million acres. California, whilst we've got 900 million acres across America growing arable land, 250 million of that is corn and soya for poor grade animal feed or ethanol. California, depending on the crop, will be providing 20 to 40 to 60 to 99% of the food we eat here. So it's really important that we have an understanding of how it's grown and how we're looking to grow it. These guys, incredibly professional. It's split 70% conventional, 30% organic. The senior vice president of operations, I'm not going to name and I'm not going to name the company. When I asked him at the end, when everybody had gone, he'd given us a tour, what's your views on regenerative agriculture? He stopped and thought. He said, well, I think we do a little bit of that. We do a bit of no-till. Now, he actually hit on a very important point. As a regenerative farm, we're looking at mitigating and then eradicating anything that looks like a toxic chemical. In order to get there, we will use biologicals, but the key to it is to use Mother Nature's tools. And if we do that, then the most important thing is we don't cut into the ground. We're not killing the microbiology in the ground with either chemicals or cutting into it. With an organic farm, you do. This is conventional in the Central Valley. It blew me away. It gets very hot there, hotter than here, not the same humidity. This is basically like talcum powder. And what he said, this guy stood up in front of 200 of the top table grape operators on the West Coast, and he said, the weather in the last 2 years has been incredible. He said, we normally have 4 or 5 105-degree days. The last 2 years we've had 10 plus, 115-degree plus on the banks. It's half crucified the grapes. We've also had a once-in-a-lifetime, and it isn't once-in-a-lifetime, hurricane blowing land. 70-mile-an-hour winds, hailstone as big as a fist. He said, 3 weeks ago we had a 5.5 Richter earthquake. He said, the only thing we haven't had in the last 2 years is Godzilla charted through the vineyard. He said, now, personally, I don't believe in climate change. She said, fair enough, everyone's got an opinion. He said, but I've got to admit, the last 2 years we've had some very extreme weather. The impact of that, because this guy's on the California Grape Commission, he's a senior guy, very switched, lovely man, very, very switched on, the business inside out. I'd love to spend a year at his feet learning the business. What he said was, I said, what's been the impact? I said, I don't expect you to tell me your numbers, but what's been the impact on table grape in California? He said, well, I'll put it in perspective, Martin. 5 years ago, we were growing about 115 million cases. £20 in a case. So that's like 2 billion, but it was nigh on 3 billion pounds of fruit were being grown in California. He said, then we started getting hit with this, and it's dropped to 95. So we've lost 20 times by 20, £500 million of fruit gone. And it hasn't come back. And then last year with the hurricane and this extreme weather event, it dropped to 75. They've lost 35% of the production capacity of $3 billion. That isn't sustainable. And I'm not even going to get into the California. I call the California Department of Food and Agriculture, the CDFA, the CDFAP, is the California Department of Agriculture and Food Prevention, because the amount of pressure that they're putting on these guys with all the regulations and protocols is incredible. And a lot of it is for the benefit of the environment, a lot of it is for the benefit of the workers. Wage rises, field worker wage rises in California have gone up 85% in the last 10 years. In the next 5, it will be 70%. They now have to pay them time and a half. The people that it's affected the most is the field workers, because companies won't pay above 40 hours on time and a half. So what we're seeing in California, in the last 15 years, we've lost 4 million acres in California. It's projected in the next 15 to 20 years that we will lose 9 million acres. The economic impact of that to California is $35 to $45 billion a year, double that for impact costs for the economy. So over the next 20 to 25 years, California's going to lose between $1.5 and $2 trillion worth of agriculture. They will also lose that agriculture because it's offshoring. I worked in manufacturing for 15 years. It happened in the UK many years ago. We don't have manufacturing anymore. And it happened for a time in the US. It's now starting to onshore. And that's happening in agriculture. But the big thing is, they could turn it around with many of the areas they get hit with at the moment and convert it to regenerative agriculture. From a personal business perspective, I hope they don't wake up to it anytime soon. But from an evangelist of the regenerative movement, we've got to get into these people and offer them an opportunity to look at a different way of operating. I'll still bite into their market share, but I'd rather they be doing it at a scale that I can't touch for maybe 5 to 10 years. So that's what our vineyards look like. We haven't got the vines that have just been planted this year. Whenever you drive past our vineyard, what you'll see is cover crops. The signs will be up here. You'll see sheep going in there. Eventually, you'll see robotic harvest pickers like these. Greg's a very astute VC. He's invested in a company called Tortuga Ag. They have finalised a picker for strawberries in-house. Now they're building one for the vineyards outside. And as I said, in the next 3 to 5 years, I'm expecting to have agricultural tech, precision tech, robotics, AI, all through the vineyard. Everything plugged into an operating system. Everything plugged into the logistics and distribution, the supply chains and the retailers, and to the end consumer, so that when you buy our grapes and there's a Q code, you can zap it and you can real time look at where those grapes come from, or whatever the story is behind it. It's going to be interactive. I love this shot. This was again, I'm not got the time to go through what that is. These are accelerated growth chambers that we found in California, which accelerate the growth of your vines by about 80%. And we've got them. We tested them in just 2 acres to see whether the sheep had knocked them over, which they didn't. What we found was that the sheep were using them as shade from the sun. So next phase, the world's first seedless muscadine, and I will run through it. I'll run through this now. We mentioned Jeff Bloodworth in the introduction. I call him the Merlin of muscadine. This guy's been working on the seedless muscadine grape, like nuclear fusion, for 43 years. He's one of the nicest people I've ever met. He's dedicated to this. He's not a native of North Carolina, but he's lived most of his life here. He worked at NC State and he came out to basically focus on this. He's working with a large nursery who's funding his research, and it's his life's work, and he wants to see this hit the market. And one of our core goals, Greg and I's, is not just to get this to the market to bust muscadine out of its confines and really make a profitable grape, but also to help this guy hit his life's work. This is Jeff in his vineyard. He's got a 5-acre laboratory vineyard down in Hillsborough, which is where he's based. Wonderful guy. So superfood, I'm going to rush through this. The superfood that I talked about, there's no other fruit or vegetable on the planet. If you find one, email me. And I've searched, I've been interested in research health and wellness for 25 years since I woke up to it myself. So I know a lot about superfoods. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a research scientist, but I'm smart enough to connect in with people who are. So when I moved into muscadine, I started to reach out into the academic community, the research community, and I found these two wonderful ladies, particularly Dr. Patricia Gallagher, who I now am privileged to call Peg. Again, Wake Forest is an amazing coming together of North Carolina solution providers who are all being putting their brains as well as the money behind this opportunity. She clicked on, Peg is involved in hypertension and cancer. And basically what she's been doing is working on the research lab. I don't know whether you've ever been to this is Wake Forest in Winston-Salem, not down the road. The story behind that is amazing, that basically the tobacco barons up there, who is it up there? Is it, who's in Winston-Salem? Which is the big, R.J. Reynolds, yeah. When they were looking at digging themselves out of all the lawsuits they were going through at the time, one of the things they did, they decided to pull the best, what my understanding was, medical center in North Carolina, picked it up and dropped. It looks like Versailles, everything's marble, and it's like this, chandeliers and marble, it's incredible. They've got beautiful, top-class, world-class facilities. And these two ladies have been working on cancer research for many years, discovered nutraceuticals about 15 years ago, muscadine 10 years ago because of its properties as being the superfood on the planet, and they started to do the research. Then they found out that the #1 nutraceutical company for muscadines was about 40 minutes south of them. Got together with him, he produced this super concentrate, it's called Mighty Muscadine, his company. If ever you have a chronic disease, and I don't get paid by this guy, go on Mighty Muscadines and look at the super concentrate. It has got anti-cancer, anti-tumour, antiviral. This fruit blows blueberries out of the water. Nothing comes close to it. She tested this concentrate, and then about 12 months later, I can't mention his name, but he's one of the wealthiest guys in the billionaire class in North Carolina, got prostate cancer, and at that level, you can have any treatment you want. He just happened to be a school friend of Jerry Smith, who owned the nutraceutical company. Jerry found out and sent him his concentrate. He said, take this for 3 months and have your blood work done again. And he did, and he got into remission. So this gentleman came up to see Jerry and said, how do I test this out? Is anyone doing research on it? So he sent her, this is the apocryphal tale, Jerry told me this and Peg told me this. He went to meet Peg at her laboratory offices, and he said, how much would you need to do the research on this? And she laughed, because researchers aren't used to being offered money. She said, it's too much money. How much do you need? He said, well, I need 5 years, I need research scientists who are PhDs, I need equipment that's worth millions. How much do you need? $20 million. He stroked her a check that day. And 5 years later, she announced the results, and that the first public showing of that was the Muscadine Growers Association, about 20 miles from here. That was the first one I attended. And when she started speaking, I worked in pharmaceuticals and biology for a while. When she started speaking, I thought, this lady and I are going to become very good friends. And we have. We've got something very special in this state, in this county, and within the confines of this room. Regen Accent, I'll talk about another time. I've gone over by a couple of minutes, I think, Erin saying.
Yeah, so it's time for questions.
Yeah. Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I work in the tourism industry. Thank you very much. That was fascinating. I work in the tourism industry, and I've had the pleasure of touring the farm recently. But I just have to ask: is there an easement on that land, a conservation easement that's going to prevent tourism growth if we don't get that reversed?
No, we've looked into that. The land that we actually bought was 350 acres. The operational land of the farm is 160 acres, and we're going to be farming, planting acres is going to be 100 acres. So the easement, most of the easement is around the back in the forest. That forest will never be touched. In fact, most of the human footprint through that forest is me walking my dogs when I've got a spare moment. It's not going to be touched. And we've also sold off to Triangle Land Conservancy 3 parcels of land on the property that are the gullies and the waterways through. So again, as a regenerative farm, that's sacrosanct to us. And we want to operate like an easement and a conservancy on the farm itself.
I have two questions. First, if just one, is there any way to get the health benefits of muscadine grapes outside the small growing season? And two, do sheep produce methane emissions?
Very good questions. The answer to the first one is yes. The best way that I would advise you doing it is through nutraceuticals, because they capture. The nutraceutical company, there's about 8 in total, and I've been in connection with all. There's a very good one out of the Raleigh-Durham area, but the best one is Mighty Muscadine, mightymuscadine.com. Their products are absolutely first class, and they've been literally verified at research level independently by PEG. You can also, believe it or not everybody's a big fan of muscadine wine. You can get the benefits of the muscadine polyphenolics from wine. There's one or two wineries that particularly focus on that, because instead of taking the seeds and the skins and shipping them out, they soak the wines in it, so it's very high polyphenolics. You can't obviously advertise it as a health drink because there's a bit of alcohol in it.
And it's the methane?
The methane, all animals give out methane, but again, that'd be a whole separate conversation I could have with you if you want to stay on behind with regards to how we capture that. So we measure everything. What I didn't mention is we have sensors, we have analytics running on the farm all the time. We test and analyze everything from the soil through to soil testing, through to carbon capture. We're about to introduce a nitrous NO2 measurement as well. We also do a lot of sap testing with the plants, so it's like taking a blood test, and we're continuously doing environmental testing all the way around. The counter effect, the counterbalance, again, you've got to look at pros and cons. What the positive impact the sheep have is 100-fold what the methane is coming out the backside. So yeah, we can't stop them pooping, farting, as we call it in England, but we can counter impact that with what we're doing.
Thank you very much, Martin. Martin, a couple of questions. What's the difference between biodynamic, which is the rage in wine growing, and regenerative? And secondly, how are you going to train us all? We love our Chardonnays, we love our Cabernets, our Merlots, Pinot Noirs. How are you going to train us to buy all this grape?
As a wine, my governor, as I call him, Greg, is a wine aficionado. The reason why he wanted a vineyard in the first place is he's built this beautiful, what looks like a Napa Valley, he spends a lot of time in Napa, beautiful Napa Valley chateau, I call it, in Chapel Hill. And what he wanted, when we bumped into each other, story for another time, 6 years ago, what he wanted was a vineyard wrapping around the property. I call it a millionaire's rose garden. So there are about millionaires that like vineyards. He wanted a 60-acre vineyard wrapping around. Then he met me, and we put our business brains together, and we saw there was a bigger opportunity. His wine collection, come up and visit him sometime and get to taste some good wine if you appreciate good wine. He's not a big fan of muscadine wine. Every which way to Tuesday I try to get him to taste it. He's not a big fan of East Coast wines either. But if you want good wine that's regenerative, the company that I would steer to, number one, is Bonterra. They're like a poster child for regenerative at Whole Foods. You can buy it in Whole Foods. The other one is a company called Tablas Creek. But there is a growing. The winery vineyards have fully woken up to regenerative, and they are pouring into it. So it might not be out there in mass at the moment, but the other thing with wineries is it's now called the Grape Apocalypse. Younger people, younger generations, I mentioned the millennials and the Gen Zs with regard to the food purchasing, is also the same with wine. For the first time ever in this country, beer dropped below 50%. Wine is absolutely tanking. The liquors are coming up. They're either, a lot more people are not drinking, they're drinking a lot of low alcohol wines and beers, which were terrible years ago, but are now starting to get a little bit more palatable. What is going up is the high-end wine. So people will always want to spend decent money for a really good bottle of whatever you poison it, or whatever you, and I don't mean that in a toxic way. But so yeah, it's It's coming slowly, and I think what we're going to see is a takeoff. So there will be a much better variety for you to choose from in future years. But in the meantime, Bonterra. Check out Bonterra's range. And I know the director of regenerative farming there as well. They've got about 1,000 acres out in California.
And the difference between biodynamic.
Also, so you've got conventional, organic, regenerative, and then biodynamic. Biodynamic is if you are at the zenith of everything that you do. There's also a lot of practices involved in that, like they bury horns in the ground and stuff. And again, I'm all for that. I'm an old hippie at heart, so I'm not already dancing naked in the forest at midnight kind of thing. But it doesn't appeal to the mass market. The interesting thing was the Little Big Farm, which was the thing that kicked us off into this, was a biodynamic farm. So if you want to know about biodynamic, watch that. It's a fantastic documentary. Mark.
Parting gifts for you. This is my club members here, and another club member. Read about me.
What's my name? My name's Zane. Between two thoughts. Come on, son.
That's what I say at 92 on your 90. I would like to get back to Cambridge this year, though. All right.
Peel it, seed it, but the beautiful thing was, no, it's not, and that's what we do. We set the seeds up, pop it to get the flesh and spit the seeds out. You've got to crunch them, and if ever you crunch a muscadine seed, okay, it'll be out in 12 months' time, fine flesh.
Actually, I was sitting here. Exactly. It's like there's a lot of tickets left.
Great hole.
Aaron, while you said it was like one of the best things you've ever done.
Good.
I feel like I
In the early stages,
As we build up that organic carbon, it's all organic each one of my acres is going to have 125,000 gallons right up the vine, so while we're doing it, I'm going to use milk fertigation in the other stages as well.
Well, that's a pretty technique here. Any minute, it's going to be more. It's going to be
I grew up
we're dealing with two.
Yeah, I grew up with that grapes with vegetables.
I had to come to me off the meat.
Pepsi bottles or like whatever Pepsi bottles.
And again, I'm not saying it's just like conventional farming, conventional food stuff that I'm not telling you. It's just the documentary is not very well. Yeah. Well, the sheep just graze on the line. Regenerative, so yeah. But it's what we're eating. We eat what sheep we eat what ground. We are a toxic so obviously you poop it out, and that's going to go with it. And the PFAs are forever. We're growing. But yeah, the answer to the other question is well, yes, we're going to go off the grid. There are certain bits in France, there's one that's but we muscadines they like shade. So the natural shade is a bit just creates we've got one of it's becoming a lot more cost everything we do you don't like plant farm. Any vinyl is going to it dies degrees. So everything we do begins to create the shade but also the ground yeah, we're looking to minimize that like out of this. I think this is bringing those to the farm as well. My government needs to start in a bit more money. Yeah, we're moving towards that. The plan is to go off grid on everything. You're trying to make a car. No, I can't afford one. I only said to people to no, it's in the paragraph. You but I was selling electric cars. They're not. You know the new CEO Ford? The new CEO Ford, he cut his teeth putting Ford out of business. He wanted to try all the way and just came on. And then Ford, because their legacy partner, the CEO, look him up, is the Ford guy. He's literally got his for a lizard dream working in California. They will be the providers of economic events. I'll give him a call and say, what do you drink, Brad? My friend in California, but at the moment, I always say to most people who drive an electric car, they're looking at their own and driving a coal. There you go. You got it. Oh, yeah, yes. Stay in time, I think. I totally agree with you.
It's a very time story.
Yes, sir. Nice. Whereabouts in California? Very nice.
And you're gracious too. How's it going? Oh, it's not.
First of all, right, the one I was a woman.
Okay, so I met those two. Right.
They
They seem great, but they have something more. So.
So good. I mean, they seem so
smart.
smart, and they took so much, right? I mean, Crystal took her first overseas business and to Thailand, which was 22. Wow. Yeah, no. Back here, she's going to do.
No, it's just table. Just table. We will use some of the remnants that we can't sell and put it into the distillery.
No, I love that.
So we'll be making a good and brand. But it's a full service distillery. It'll be vodka and brandy. It'll be the best American single malts in the States as well. All the chemicals. There you go. Something to look forward to. Let me know you look down. I'll send you a bottle. Anyone who's going to visit for a East Coast is probably going to get hammered in regards to climate change. It's like in France, they have 800,000 hectares of winery, vineyards, and they just made the decision to wipe 25% of that, 100,000 hectares. Because the market is crashed globally. Yeah. And the other thing that's affected is the climate. As the climate disrupts, it's now moving, it's becoming too hot to grow in Spain and Portugal, Italy and France. So believe it or not, one of the top wine growing an English vineyard manager now not one of those. Well, that's what I keep saying. England's going to be a future wine area. All the way up to Scotland.
Right. No, that was a big thing.
Exactly. Whiskey and wine. First, last year. Google it and look it up. It absolutely hammered them. Well, it's a bit like when we have the meeting. Sometimes they'll turn from I think it was a tropical storm when it came inland. It was a hurricane that normally they barrel up to the Pacific, but this one, for whatever reason,
Robert Kennedy.
took a right turn. Yeah.
Yes.
So whether it was a hurricane, a force 5 or a tropical storm, tropical you go with a tropical storm. With 2 hours drive, almonds and pistachios and vineyards. Yeah. Yeah, it's all right. It used to have some of the finest soil on the planet.
Well,
Combination.
I can give you my email.
I can ask him actually.
I never carry cards. Don't give me my email. You want to take my email?
I can give it to him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I'll give you mine.
Sure. Give me 1 second. Let me put my number in. D for Dennis, G for Jeffrey, or G for Greg?
G as in Greer.
Yeah.
Green.
Yeah.
E-G M-A-R-T.
M-A-R-T. What's his name? 9, 8.
Do you mean to just text it to you? Actually, here, let me see if it's working. Can you get it?
I don't, can I have it?
Do you have an iPhone?
DGMART 98 at gmail.com.
Okay, did I share it?
Yeah, you got it.
There you go.
Okay, that's great.
Waiting.
Hey. Most certainly. And your name, sir? No, you first.
Waiting. Hold on, I know something? I didn't download this.
I'll send you a quick connect now and then just follow up and we'll swap. Nice to meet you. Most definitely. Let me make sure I've got this. Bob Slater at look out above, that's fine. Let me have your pen.
They do.
I'll remember it. It's alright, I'm the same. I'm like, we both got doctor writers. Look.
To make sense
About the solar system?
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
It's here.
No, in terms of the actual
Yeah, 100, I'll send you plenty of information. Yeah, it's Martin, M-A-R-T-I-N, at U for Union, G for Grove, .farm.